Once again, I welcome you all to the chemistry class. Students, today we are going to discuss about properties of aldehydes and ketones. Properties of aldehydes and ketones. First, we'll discuss about physical properties of aldehydes and ketones. So, physical properties of aldehydes and ketones are displayed on your screen. Let's have a look. First physical properties we are going to discuss is physical state. So, what are the physical state of aldehydes ketones, that we will discuss first. First member of aldehyde homologous series is formaldehyde, which is a gas at room temperature. I repeat, formaldehyde is a gas at room temperature, and the aldehydes, the acetaldehyde is a liquid at room temperature. It is a low boiling liquid. It is mentioned boiling point is 21 degrees centigrade. Let me tell you one more thing. Aqueous solution of formaldehyde, 40% solution of formaldehyde is used as formalin. It is called formalin, and it is used as antiseptic, disinfectant, and also used to preserve zoological species. That is formalin, 40% aqueous solution of formaldehyde. Other aldehydes up to 12 carbon atoms, they are colorless liquids. Ketones containing 3 to 11 carbon atoms are colorless liquids too. Next physical properties we are going to discuss is boiling point. Aldehydes and ketones possess lower boiling point than the carboxylic acid and alcohols of comparable molecular mass. I repeat, aldehyde ketones possess lower boiling point than the carboxylic acid and alcohols of comparable molecular mass, but possess higher boiling point than the alkanes of comparable molecular mass. See, some examples I have given here. The compound, first compound I have given propanol, then propanone, then propanol, then ethanoic acid. Molecular mass almost remains same, but see the difference in boiling point here. Boiling point of propanol 49 degrees centigrade, propanone 56 degrees centigrade, propanol 98 degrees centigrade, and acetic acid 118 degrees centigrade. Now, why there is so much difference of boiling point? Let's first see that. Propanol, why it has higher boiling point? Because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. You know that the hydrogen bonding in between the molecules is called intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So, propanol has higher boiling point, but see acetic acid, it has the highest boiling point here. Why acetic acid has the highest boiling point? Again due to intermolecular hydrogen bonding. But why it possesses higher boiling point than propanol? Because in acetic acid, that is carbonyl group is there, which is electron withdrawing. So, it increases polarity of OH bond. So, the intermolecular hydrogen bonding is stronger in acetic acid or ethanoic acid. That is why its boiling point is the highest here. Coming to propanol and propanone, they are isomers, they have the same molecular mass. Then why acetone propanol possesses higher boiling point? You see here, it is given 56 degrees centigrade acetone boiling point, and propanol having the same molecular mass, its boiling point is 49 degrees centigrade. Why this is so? In acetone, there are two electron releasing groups, methyl groups. So, the polarity, carbon oxygen bond polarity increases because of the plus side groups. Its dipole moment is higher than that of propanol. I repeat, the propanone dipole moment is higher than that of propanol. Propanol dipole moment 2.88 dBi, whereas propanol 2.55 dBi. 2.88 dBi, it is propanone. It has higher boiling point because of the higher dipole moment. Okay, clear? So, what is the difference in boiling point here? Propanol possesses lower boiling point than propanone, which in turn possesses lower boiling point than propanol, and the carboxylic acid of the same molecular mass possesses the highest boiling point here. Now, question comes, why aldehyde ketones possess higher boiling point than alkanes of comparable molecular mass? If we compare the molecular mass of the corresponding alkane, for example, N-butane, its boiling point is much lesser than that of the aldehyde ketones. Why this is so? Why boiling point difference is there? Because in aldehyde ketone there is carbonyl group, and carbonyl group is a dipole. Carbonyl group is a dipole. So, there is dipole-dipole attraction. Because of the dipole-dipole attraction, the aldehyde ketone possesses higher boiling point than the alkanes, where the van der Waals force of attraction exists. Between alkane molecules, the force of attraction is van der Waals force of attraction, because alkanes are non-polar. You know that, students. Whereas aldehyde ketones, there is dipole-dipole attraction. That is responsible for the higher boiling point of aldehydes and ketones compared to alkanes of comparable molecular mass. Is that clear? I think now it is clear. The boiling point, you can now predict the boiling point of different aldehydes and ketones, etc. Okay. Next, physical properties, solubility. Solubility, formaldehyde, acetaldehyde and acetone are miscible with water in all proportions because they form hydrogen bond with water. Okay, it is the hydrogen bonding, it is displayed on a TV screen. You see here, acetone is hydrogen bonded with water molecule. So as they form hydrogen bond with water, they have higher solubility. So they are soluble in water. But the solubility, you see, solubility decreases with increase in molecular mass. Solubility decreases with increase in molecular mass. When molecular mass increases, solubility decreases. Why this is so? Because why molecular mass increases? Functional group remains constant. Why molecular mass increases? Because of the hydrocarbon part. Hydrocarbon part is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means water hating. That is why that aldehyde ketones with higher molecular mass, solubility decreases. Molecular mass increases, solubility decreases because hydrophobic character increases, so solubility decreases. Coming to carbonyl compounds containing more than 5 carbon atoms, practically insoluble in water. More than 5 carbon atoms. Up to 4 carbon atoms, they are soluble. But beyond 5 carbon atoms, the aldehyde ketones are insoluble in water, practically insoluble, slightly soluble. These are the physical properties of aldehydes and ketones. We have discussed about physical state, we have discussed about boiling point, we have discussed about solubility. Okay? Next, chemical properties. That is reactions of aldehydes and ketones. The reactions of aldehydes and ketones can be divided into the following 5 types displayed on your screen. Following 5 types. What are the types? Nucleophilic addition reaction, number 1. Nucleophilic addition elimination reactions, oxidation reactions, reduction reactions and reactions involving alpha hydrogen. Okay? These are the 5 types of reactions, these 5 that aldehyde ketone exhibit. These 5 type reaction we will discuss each and every reaction in detail. All these 5 reactions we will discuss here. First reaction is nucleophilic addition reactions. Nucleophilic addition reactions. What is nucleophilic addition reaction? First question arises. What is nucleophilic addition reactions? Addition reaction initiated by a nucleophile. It's nucleophilic addition reaction. Addition reaction initiated by a nucleophile is nucleophilic addition reactions. So why aldehyde ketones undergo nucleophilic addition reactions? Why aldehydes and ketones? It is said that characteristics reaction of aldehyde ketones are the nucleophilic addition reactions. Just like you see, whenever you find alkanes, the characteristics reaction or alkanes exhibit free radical substitution. Second, alkenes exhibit alactophilic addition reactions. Alkynes, alactophilic addition reactions. Alkyl halides, nucleophilic substitution reactions. Haloarenes, aromatic nucleophilic substitution reactions. Aldehyde ketones, nucleophilic addition reactions. Okay? Why aldehyde and ketones undergo nucleophilic addition reaction? That we have to discuss here. Before discussing the nucleophilic addition reaction, let us see what the structure of the carbonyl group present in aldehydes and ketones. Structure of the carbonyl group. And I am going to draw the structure of the carbonyl group on the whiteboard. Just look at the whiteboard here. See, this is carbonyl group. Can you tell me what the hybridization of carbon atom here? Remember, when carbon is bonded through double bond to any other atom, when carbon is bonded to other atom through a double bond, carbon atom is always sp2 hybridized. So here carbon is double bonded to oxygen. So carbon atom is sp2 hybridized. It is sp2 hybridization. And what about the hybridization of oxygen atom, students? Yes, what about the hybridization of oxygen atom? It is also sp2 hybridized. This is also sp2 hybridized oxygen. See, then how carbon carbonyl group is formed? How the 3 sigma bonds are formed? Very simple. This sigma bond, you see double bond is always made up of 1 sigma and 1 pi bond. 1 sigma and 1 pi bond. So this sigma bond is formed by head-on overlapping of 2 half-filled sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon and oxygen. Head-on overlapping. sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon and sp2 hybrid orbital of oxygen, head-on overlapping, first sigma bond is formed. This sigma bond, let me represent this one, let it be aldehyde here. Let it be aldehyde. Now this sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon, half-filled sp2 hybrid orbital as per the valence bond theory. Half-filled sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon overlap with sp3 hybrid orbital of the carbon, alkyl group, I mean methyl, ethyl, etc. So sp3 hybrid orbital of carbon overlap with sp2 hybrid orbital of carbonyl carbon, resulting in another sigma bond. And this bond, it is due to sp2 s head-on overlapping, s orbital of hydrogen overlap with sp2 hybrid orbital of carbonyl carbon to form this sigma bond. And how the pi bond is formed? You know that pi bonds are always formed by sidewise overlapping of half-filled p orbitals. So this pi bond is formed by sidewise overlapping of half-filled on-hybrid orbital of carbon and half-filled on-hybrid orbital of oxygen. So the pi bond is formed. Now you say here, this carbonyl group, can you call it polar group? Is it a polar group here? Is it polar? Yes, it is a polar. It is polar. Why polar? Due to electronic effects. What is the electronic effects here? Difference in electronegativity. Which is more electronegative? Oxygen is more electronegative. So that is why the oxygen acquire fractional negative charge and carbon acquire fractional positive charge, because oxygen withdraws electrons, both by pi electrons as well as sigma bond electrons towards it, so it acquire substantial negative charge, and carbon acquire, carbonyl carbon acquire substantial positive charge. Okay, so this is polar, carbonyl group is polar, and cause of polarity is difference in electronegativity. I am saying this as electronic effect. Any other explanation for the polarity? Yes, there is another point also which also contribute polarity to carbonyl group, that is resonance. Resonance, you know resonance. Resonance is defined as phenomenon in which two or more structures involving identical position of atoms can be written for a particular compound. So for the particular compound, here I am taking carbonyl group, and for the carbonyl group I can write two structures without disturbing position of any one of the nucleus here. See, carbonyl group is a resonance hybrid of two contributing structures, and this is one of the contributing structure. It is a polar structure, plus minus charge separated structure. This also contribute to the resonance hybrid structure of carbonyl group. This is resonance hybrid structure of the carbonyl group. Okay, so since the resonance, this is one of the contributing structures, carbonyl group is polar. So as it is polar, the carbonyl carbon can be attacked by the nucleophiles. The carbonyl carbon, now it can be attacked by the nucleophiles. Why? Because the carbonyl carbon has substantial positive charge. It is a polar group, it has positive charge, so it can be attacked by the nucleophile. Nucleophiles, what do you mean by nucleophiles? Nucleus loving reagents. Nucleophiles are nucleus loving reagents. They lost positive charge, and here carbonyl carbon has got substantial positive charge. It has got positive charge, so nucleophiles attacks the carbon atom. So how come it attack? Nucleophiles, does it attack the carbonyl carbon perpendicular to the plane? You know, the carbon atom is sp2 hybridized. So sp2 hybridized is a planar. As it is planar, the nucleophile, can it attack the carbonyl carbon the directly, I mean the perpendicular to the plane of the carbon oxygen double bond? No, it attack the carbonyl carbon with 107-degree angle to the carbonyl carbon nucleophile attack. So when nucleophile attack the carbonyl carbon, pi bond shifts to the oxygen. Why? Because oxygen can better accommodate the negative charge. Why? Because oxygen is more electronegative. Is that clear, students? So why that aldehyde ketone undergo nucleophilic addition reactions? Why aldehyde ketone undergo nucleophilic addition reactions? It is because the carbonyl carbon has got positive charge. So nucleophiles, which are nucleus loving reagent, I mean they loves positive charge, they adduct the carbonyl carbon and pi bond shift to the oxygen atom, resulting in negative charge over oxygen. This is nucleophilic addition reaction. I will show the mechanism here. So nucleophilic addition reactions, we are discussing the nucleophilic addition reactions. You see the nucleophilic addition reactions details it is displayed on our screen. In carbonyl group, carbon-oxygen double bond consists of two bonds, one sigma and one pi bond. The more electronegative oxygen strongly attract the electrons towards it, so it acquires fractional negative charge, it is given. The carbon atom bears a substantial positive and oxygen atom bears a substantial negative charge, which is also supported by resonance. This polarity is also supported by the fact that dipole moment. You see, it is displayed on our screen, that is formaldehyde possesses the dipole moment 2.27 dB, whereas acetone possesses the dipole moment 2.88 dB. And this dipole moment indicate that carbonyl compounds are polar. Next point, the carbonyl carbon, because of its positive charge, is subject to nucleophilic attack by variety of nucleophilic reagents. I have already told you that carbonyl carbon has got positive charge, so it can be attacked by the nucleophiles. You know nucleophiles? Nucleophiles usually are negatively charged species. Negatively charged species. That is why they love positive charge. And here in carbonyl group, the carbonyl carbon has got a positive charge, so the nucleophile attack the carbonyl carbon. Next point here, the trigonal planar arrangement of groups around the carbonyl carbon means that the carbonyl carbon is relatively open to attack from above or below the plane of the carbonyl group. You see here, the carbonyl group, I have already told you, it is planar. It is planar here, it is sp2 hybridized. So the alkyl group, hydrogen and oxygen in this case, they are in the same plane. They are in the same plane. So nucleophile can attack the carbonyl carbon either from the that is top end or from the bottom. Either it attack from the top side or from the bottom side. Okay? So that is why the carbonyl carbon can be attacked by the nucleophile from either end, either from the top or from the bottom. Next, as the nucleophile forms a sigma bond to the carbonyl carbon with its electron pair, the hybridization of carbon also changes. You see here, hybridization of carbon changes from sp to sp3. See the mechanism here, it is displayed on your screen that carbonyl carbon is now attacked by the nucleophile. So nucleophile attack the carbonyl carbon, making 107-degree angle with the carbon oxide double bond. So first step is slower one, first step is slow, and it gives that tetrahedral alkoxy intermediate, See, the sp2 hybridized carbon, now it is converted into sp3 hybridized carbon. So this is alkoxide intermediate, and the step 1 is slow. In the next step, since alkoxide is basic, obviously it remove H plus ion from the acid, I mean it can abstract H plus ion from the acid or from the water or from the reagent or from the solvent to give the addition product which is displayed on a TV screen. So it is sp2 to sp3 hybridization. Is that clear? The sp2 hybridized carbon is converted into sp3 hybridized carbon. So that planar group becomes tetrahedral, alkoxide intermediate. And why the second step is fast step here? Second step is fast step because it is an acid base reaction. The step 1 is slow, and slow step is called RDS. Slow step is called RDS. RDS is rate determining step. Okay. So here rate of the reaction can be determined. So it is RDS. This is nucleophilic addition reactions of aldehydes and ketones. So the characteristics reaction of aldehydes and ketones are the nucleophilic addition reactions. It is because carbonyl group is a polar group. Polarity is due to difference in electronegativity. Also resonance contribute to the polarity, supported by the fact of dipole moment. The dipole moment indicate that carbonyl group is polar. So it attacked by the nucleophile, the sp2 hybridized carbon, the planar group converted into sp3 hybridized carbon, which is an alkoxide intermediate forms. Next step is fast step, acid base reaction. Always acid base reactions, Usually acid-base reactions are fast reactions. Next point is relative reactivity of aldehydes and ketones. Displayed on your screen, relative reactivity of aldehydes and ketones. Now question arises, between aldehydes and ketones, which are more reactive towards nucleophiles? Which are more reactive towards nucleophiles? Aldehydes or ketones? In general, aldehydes are more reactive than ketones towards nucleophilic additions. Aldehydes are more reactive. This is very important, students. This can be asked you as a questions. Compare the reactivity of aldehydes and ketones towards nucleophilic addition. Aldehydes are more reactive towards nucleophilic addition. Why? That we have to discuss. Why aldehydes are more reactive towards nucleophilic addition? Here, two factors responsible for the higher reactivity of aldehydes over ketones towards nucleophilic additions. What are the two factors? It is given here. It is electronic factor and second is steric factor. So first we will discuss the electronic factor. What is the electronic factor? You see, if you see the mechanism, just look at the mechanism, that rate of reactivity of the aldehydes and ketones depends upon the density of the positive charge over carbonyl carbon. It is because of the positive charge density of the carbonyl carbon, nucleophile is able to attack the carbonyl carbon. So rate of reactivity of nucleophilic attack depends on density of positive charge over carbonyl carbon. So greater is the density of positive charge over carbonyl carbon, greater is the reactivity towards nucleophile. Is that clear? Greater is the density of positive charge over carbonyl carbon, greater is the reactivity towards nucleophile. In ketones, there are two alkyl groups. In ketones, there are two alkyl groups, and you know alkyl groups are reluctant releasing. They are reluctant releasing. So as they releases electrons to the sigma bond, that decreases the positive charge density over carbonyl carbon. Decreases positive charge density over carbonyl carbon. So decreases the reactivity of ketones towards nucleophile. That's the reason here. Whereas in aldehyde, only one alkyl group. So density of positive charge over carbonyl carbon obviously greater compared to that of ketones. So aldehydes are more reactive than ketones because of electronic factor. This is electronic factor here. Do you follow me? Ketones are less reactive towards nucleophile because of greater plus I effect. Coming to steric factor. Ketones, there are two alkyl groups, and alkyl groups are bulkier in size, the large size. So that electron cloud, because of the large size, does not allow the nucleophile, the hinders the approach of the nucleophile. That is steric effect, because of which ketones are less reactive. The bulky nature of the two alkyl groups in ketone hinders the approach of the nucleophile. Is that clear, students? Bulky nature of the alkyl group hinders the approach of the nucleophile. Okay, so rate of reaction decreases. Ketones are less reactive towards nucleophile because of this reason. It can also be explained in different ways. See, I have already told you, I have that mechanism I have already shown to you. In mechanism, you will find that sp2 hybridized carbon of the carbonyl group is converted into sp3 hybridized carbon. You tell me, what is the angle in sp2 hybridization? You tell me, what is the angle in sp2 hybridization? Yes, it is correct. It is 120 degree. In aldehyde ketone, angle is around 120 degree. But it is converted into sp3 hybridized carbon, and in sp3 hybridization, angle is 109 degree 28 minute. 109 degree 28 minute. So bond angle decreases. That means alkyl groups are coming closer. So repulsion increases. Energy increases, stability decreases. So equilibrium in the mechanism. Just look at the mechanism. In the mechanism, the equilibrium shifts to the left. It lies far to the left. Why? Because of the steric crowding of the two alkyl groups. Steric crowding of the two alkyl groups and ketones decreases the stability of the alkoxide intermediate. So equilibrium lies far to the left, not in the forward direction but in the backward directions. That is why ketones are less reactive. So there are two factors responsible for the higher reactivity of aldehydes and ketones: electronic factor and steric factor. The electronic, because of the electronic factor, ketones are less reactive, that is plus I, electron releasing nature. positive charge density decreases in ketones, and because of that steric factor also ketones are less reactive. So, why ketones are less reactive towards nucleophilic addition? Because of, not only because of greater plus effect, but also because of steric effect. Is that clear, students? I think now it is clear why aldehydes are more reactive. This is very important from the point of view of CHSE exam. Okay. So, this is the reactivity between aldehydes and ketones. Well, students, we have already discussed about the nucleophilic addition reaction. We have discussed the mechanism and also discussed about the reactivity between aldehydes and ketones, and I have already told you that aldehydes are more reactive than ketones because of electronic factor as well as steric factor. So, the reactivity between different aldehydes and ketones displayed on your TV screen. Just have a look. First, formaldehyde, the most reactive carbonyl compound towards nucleophilic addition, followed by aldehydes, followed by aromatic aldehyde, followed by ketone, followed by aromatic ketone. Now, second point, an electron withdrawing substituent, particularly when added to the alpha carbon. What do you mean by alpha carbon? Carbon added to functional group. Carbon added to functional group. So, when electron withdrawing substituents are present in the alpha carbon of aldehydes and ketones, the rate of reactivity of aldehydes and ketones towards nucleophile increases. It is also displayed on your TV screen. You see acetaldehyde less reactive than alpha chloroacetaldehyde, or 2-chloroethanol less reactive than 2,2-dichloroethanol, and less reactive than 2,2-trichloroethanol. Okay. So, this is reactivity of aldehydes and ketones. Steric factor, it is already discussed. The steric factor, why there is steric factor and what is its effect on the reactivity, we have already discussed. So, you see that formaldehyde is the most reactive, followed by acetaldehyde, then acetone, then diethyl ketone or pentanthreone. And what the expected questions here? What the questions we can expect here? The first question, arrange the following compounds in the increasing order of boiling point. Increasing order of boiling point, you know this. The first is butane. The butane has the lowest boiling point, and butane is given. Just see here. Let me write this increasing order of boiling point on the whiteboard. And butane lesser than, it is diethyl ether, lesser than propanol, because in propanol there is dipole attraction, butanol. Okay. Then it is lesser than the alcohol butanol, CH3, CH2, CH2OH, this one. This is the increasing order of boiling point. That alcohol has the highest boiling point because of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, van der Waals force of attractions. It is also very low boiling point, and this is dipole attractions. Next question, arrange the following compounds in increasing order of reactivity towards nucleophilic additions, also displayed on your TV screen. Let us have a look here. The reactivity towards nucleophile, its first compound is acetaldehyde, then acetone, then it is butanone, then formaldehyde. Can you tell me, students, the most reactive towards nucleophile, towards nucleophilic addition among these four compounds? You tell me which one is the most reactive towards nucleophilic addition. You know the answer. Yes, answer is formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is the most reactive aldehyde towards nucleophilic addition here, followed by acetaldehyde, because aldehydes are more reactive than ketones. Then there are two ketones, followed by acetone, followed by butanone. This is butanone, no need to say butantone, because this is the only compound possible. With the 4 carbon, only ketone possible is this one. So, no need to say butantone, this is wrong. This is butanone. It has the it is the least reactive towards nucleophilic addition because of steric effect, greater steric effect, and also greater Plaza effect. So, this is the decreasing order of reactivity towards nucleophilic addition reactions. If it is increasing order, if the question asks to increasing order, you can write like this. lesser than acetone, lesser than acetaldehyde, lesser than formaldehyde. This question can be expected. This question can be asked to in CHSA exam, that arrange the following compounds in increasing or decreasing order of reactivity towards nucleophile, and you know the answer. So this is about the nucleophilic addition reaction of aldehydes and ketones. Now we will discuss the nucleophilic addition reactions of aldehyd ketones as per the mechanism I have already shown you, as per the mechanism we have already discussed. First nucleophilic addition reaction of aldehydes and ketones. First reaction is addition of hydrogen cyanide. Addition of hydrogen cyanide. Let me write the reactions on the whiteboard. Addition of hydrogen cyanide. Carbonyl group, I mean aldehys and ketones, when treated with hydrogen cyanide in weakly basic medium, gives the addition product cyanohydrin. This is the addition of HCN, the first nucleophilic addition reactions. Let us see what are the characteristics here. First question arises, which one is nucleophile here? Which one is nucleophile? Nucleophile, where is the nucleophile? The nucleophile is Cn minus ion. Nucleophile is Cn minus ion. From where it is generated? It is generated because of the reaction between Hc and OH minus ion. Okay, so this is how the Cn minus and nucleophile Cn minus is generated. Next question comes, why not HCN only? Why basic medium is required to generate the nucleophile? The nucleophilic addition reaction, this one, we require the nucleophile in the first step. So basic medium is required to generate the nucleophile. Does it indicate that HCN can't furnish the Cn minus ion? No, HCN cannot furnish Cn minus to larger extent, because HCN is a very weak acid. So concentration of Cn minus is very low as it undergoes ionization to smaller extent. It ionizes to smaller extent. It can't ionize to greater extent. The concentration of Cn minus is too low. That is why the reaction is catalyzed by a base, weakly basic medium. So aldehydes and ketones, remember unhindered ketones always. We can't take all the ketones here. Unhindered, where hindrance is not there. I mean the alkyl groups which are attached to ketones should be less bulkier. Aldehydes and unhindered ketones, when treated with hydrogen cyanide in weakly basic medium, in presence of base, it gives cyanohydrin as the product. And you see, the cyanohydrin, these are called cyanohydrins, common name. And if I will start with one example, let me take acetaldehyde here. This is acetaldehyde. You have to be acquainted with the common names. Common names are very important here. So this is acetaldehyde, very popularly known by this common name than ethanol. Ethanol is the IPAC name, but better known by the common name acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde with hydrogen cyanide. What it gives? What the product here? Acetaldehyde cyanohydrin. This is acetaldehyde cyanohydrin. Just see the carbon atom. Okay, please pay the attention here. See the carbon atom. Does this carbon is chiral? Is it chiral carbon? Is it chiral carbon? Yes, the carbon is chiral because it bonded to 4 different groups. Now question comes, does it exhibit optical isomerism? Does it exhibit optical isomerism? We know that when a compound possesses one chiral carbon, it is always optically active. Now this acetaldehyde cyanohydrin, it has got a chiral carbon, it must be optically active. I mean it should rotate plane polarized light either towards left or towards right through a certain angle. but this compound is optically inactive. This compound is optically inactive. Okay, why? Because I have already told you the carbonyl group is trigonal planar. So it can be attacked by the nucleophile either from the top or from the bottom. Okay, it can be attacked by the nucleophile from either side. Okay, from the top and it can be attacked or from the bottom. If it attacks the carbon atom from the top, let the isomer thus produces dextrorotatory D form. Then from the if the nucleophile attacks the carbonyl carbon from the bottom, now the isomer produces lever rotatory. So there is 50% D and 50% Al. You see, this compound is up that the product does not rotate PPL at all. Why? Because it is a racemic mixture. It is a racemic mixture. Why racemic mixture? Because the carbonyl carbon can be attacked by the nucleophile from either side, from the top or from the bottom. So resulting racemic mixture of D and L, 50% D and 50% L is called racemic mixture. 50% D, 50% L. That this compound, it is 50% D is there, 50% L is there, 50% dextrorotatory, 50% lever rotatory. So this is racemic mixture, and racemic mixture does not rotate PPL at all. So that is why it is optically inactive. Why racemic mixture is optically inactive? It is due to external compensation. External compensation. I repeat, external compensation. What is that? That rotatory power of the D form, dextrorotatory form, is cancelled by equal and opposite rotation of the L form. There is 50% D and 50% L, as you know. Because that carbonyl group B planar, it can be attacked from the either side. Front side attack, if it gives D form, back side attack gives L form. So equal chance is there. So racemic mixture. Is that clear? Now you see, we can also prepare hydroxy acid from this compound. How hydroxy acid can be prepared? This is cyanide is there. We have already introduced cyanide group. We have already increased one carbon atom. One carbon atom. You see, how many carbon atoms are here? 2 carbon atoms. Now, how many total number of carbon atoms? 1, 2, 3. 3 carbons. We have already increased one carbon atom. So this reaction is of synthetic importance also. We can convert this compound into hydroxy acid just by acid hydrolysis, because cyanide group can be hydrolyzed to carboxylic acid by acid hydrolysis. This is hydroxy acid called lactic acid. Lactic acid. This is lactic acid, this one. So this reaction can be used for this conversion. If the question asks you, how will you prepare lactic acid from acetaldehyde? This is the reaction. So I have discussed some points here. Number 1, nucleophile is CN minus ion. Number 2, that reaction occurs in weakly basic medium. Okay. Number 3, the HCN is highly toxic. So it being highly toxic, HCN is highly toxic. Hence, the HCN is generated in situ. Highly toxic, the hydrogen cyanide liquid. It is generated in situ. In solution, sodium cyanide react with H2 super. This mixture is usually used to give NHSO4 plus HCN. So sodium cyanide with sulfuric acid gives NHSO4 and HCN. So that hydrogen cyanide is used for the addition to carbonyl group. You see, when this reaction takes place, H2SO4 amount should be lesser compared to NaCN. I repeat, amount of the H2SO4 should be lesser compared to NaCN. There must be excess of Cn minus ion. Okay, so that Cn minus ion undergoes hydrolysis. Hydrolysis means that it reacts with the water to give either weak acid or weak base or both. Reacts with water to give either weak acid or weak base or both. It undergoes hydrolysis to plus water to give HCN and OH minus ion. See, HCN is highly toxic, not possible to generate HCN. not possible to use HCN because it is highly toxic, it is very dangerous to use this reaction. That is why this reaction is carried out by using mixture of sodium cyanide and sulfuric acid. The sodium cyanide when reacts with sulfuric acid gives NaCO4 and HCN. But must be taken that sulfuric acid should be limiting one. Sulfuric acid should, amount of the sulfuric acid should be lesser than the amount of sodium cyanide. So that there will be excess of CN- ion and that CN- ion react with water to give HCN and OH- ion. It undergoes hydrolysis. Okay, to give HCN and CN-. You see, alkalinity condition is maintained, alkalinity condition OH- is there. I have already told you that aldehydes when react with hydrogen cyanide in weakly basic medium gives the addition product acetaldehyde cyanohydrin. And why this reaction is important? That acetaldehyde cyanohydrin upon acid hydrolysis gives the hydroxy acid. Thus, this reaction can be used for the preparation of hydroxy acid here. For example, lactic acid is prepared from acetaldehyde by these reactions. Do you follow me, students? So, I think the addition of HCN is clear. If the question asks you that what happens when acetaldehyde treated with HCN and the product followed by acid hydrolysis, so what is the answer? This is the reaction. When acetaldehyde treated with HCN, remember weakly basic medium. Why weakly basic medium? To generate the nucleophile. Okay, otherwise HCN can't furnish HCN, the hydrogen cyanide, it cannot release maximum CN- ion concentration. With HCN, concentration of CN- is too low, so rate of reaction is too slow. CN- concentration is too low. Why? Acid is a very weak acid, cannot undergo ionization to maximum extent, the concentration of CN- decreases, the rate of reaction is very slow. That is why weak basic medium is required, and for that aldehyde react to the HCN in presence of which minus and cyanohydrin, acid hydrolysis, that hydroxy acids. So, students, we have already discussed the addition of HCN to aldehydes and ketones as a first nucleophilic addition reaction of aldehydes and ketones. HCN when odd occurs carbon-oxygen double bond, it gives cyanohydrin, which upon acid hydrolysis gives the hydroxy acids. We have already discussed in detail. I have told you that HCN is toxic, highly toxic, very dangerous to use HCN. That is why it is HCN is used in form of that NaCN and H2SO4 in situ. NaCN H2SO4 mixture gives HCN. So, and that H2SO4 amount should be lesser compared to the amount of NaCN. So, that alkalinity is maintained. Already I have explained this on the whiteboard. Now, based on this reaction, what the questions you can expect? What are the expected questions? So, the expected question based on this reaction, what happens when acetaldehyde reacts with hydrogen cyanide in presence of a base and then hydrolyzed by acid? So, acetaldehyde reacts with hydrogen cyanide, this one, to give acetaldehyde cyanohydrin, and upon acid hydrolysis gives lactic acid or 2-hydroxypropanoic acid. Second question, that acetone with HCN, let us see how the reaction takes place. Acetone with HCN gives A, then that A upon acid hydrolysis gives B. Let me write this reaction on the whiteboard. I mean propanone also. Acetone when reacts with hydrogen cyanide, it gives acetone cyanohydrin. Okay, this is the first product. So, this is compound A as per the question displayed on your TV screen. This compound A upon acid hydrolysis, where cyanide is hydrolyzed to COH, it gives hydroxy acid. This is hydroxy acid, this is compound B. Can you give the IPAC name of this compound? Very simple, 1, 2, 3. 1 because COH is the principal function here, as it has the highest priority in the nomenclature priority table given by IPAC. Then 1, 2, 3, what the IPAC name here? It is 2-hydroxy 2-methyl as per the alphabetical order, 2-hydroxy 2-methyl propanoic acid. 2-hydroxy 2-methyl propanoic acid, this is the IPAC name, you can write that, 2-hydroxy 2-methyl propanoic acid. This is the IUPAC name of this compound B. Third question, X with HCN gives Y. That's a reverse question, reverse method of asking questions here. That upon acid hydrolysis gives, it is given 2-hydroxypropanoic acid, 2-hydroxypropanoic acid. This is propanoic acid, 2-hydroxy this one, then use hydrogen to satisfy the tetracovalence of carbon. Use hydrogen to satisfy the tetracovalence of carbon. 1, 2, 3. So what is the IUPAC name? 2-hydroxypropanoic acid. This is lactic acid. Now you see, what would be the compound Y? Since upon acid hydrolysis, it gives this compound and cyanide is present. So in place of COH, cyanide must be present here. CHOH, cyanide, which is converted into COH. This is compound Y. And compound Y is obtained by addition of HCN to compound X. So HCN 1 carbon, total number of carbon atom present is 3. If you remove HCN, now 2 carbon atoms are there. So this is acetaldehyde now. 2 carbon compound, the aldehyde containing 2 carbon is acetaldehyde. Okay. So this is the first addition reaction of aldehydes and ketones, that is addition of hydrogen cyanide. Next, nucleophilic addition reaction of aldehydes and ketones. Second reaction is addition of sodium bisulfite. I repeat, addition of sodium bisulfite. Let's see how the reaction takes place, that is aldehyde and ketones. How does they react with sodium bisulfite? Aldehydes and ketones, when treated with aldehydes and ketones, when treated with saturated aqueous solution of sodium bisulfite, gives sodium bisulfite addition product. Aldehydes and ketones, but which ketone? Let me tell you here, this is very important. Which ketones? Methyl ketones only. Remember, methyl ketones only. So this is the reaction which can be used for distinction between methyl ketone and rest of the ketones. Okay. So aldehydes and methyl ketones, when treated with saturated aqueous solution of sodium bisulfite, gives sodium bisulfite addition product. And this sodium bisulfite addition product is insoluble in saturated solution of sodium bisulfite. So it is obtained as a crystalline solid. It is obtained as a crystalline solid which can be filtered off. Let me show this reaction on the whiteboard. I am taking aldehyde here, acetaldehyde. I am using sodium bisulfite here, NHSO3. The addition product is this one. Sodium bisulfite addition product. It is a crystalline solid, hence it can be filtered off. The sodium bisulfite, which one is nucleophile here? What the nucleophile? Sodium bisulfite, when sodium bisulfite is used, what the nucleophile? NHSO3 gives Na plus and HSO3 minus. And from the HSO3 minus, after removal of H plus, it gives SO3 2 minus. So nucleophile is sulfide ion, SO3 2 minus, which is pyramidal. SO3 2 minus is nucleophile here. So how does it attack? How does the sulfide ion attack the carbonyl carbon? Let's see the mechanism here. This is carbonyl carbon and this is that sulfide ion. Okay, remember, though negative charge is present on the oxygen atom, but this is not nucleophilic atom here. This is less nucleophilic than sulfur. Sulfur is larger in size, so it is more nucleophilic. Remember, nucleophilicity is a kinetic phenomenon. It is a kinetic phenomenon. Just looking at a reagent negative charge species, you can't predict the nucleophilicity. It is a kinetic phenomenon. So here that sulfur atom being more nucleophilic, it attack the carbonyl carbon. This is the mechanism. That is why carbon sulfur bond is present. Okay, now you see, obviously the O minus alkoxide ion, this oxide ion is more basic compared to the sulfide ion because the negative charge delocalized through resonance here. Negative charge delocalized, where oxygen no delocalized negative charge. This is more basic to remove H plus ion. That means it appears as OH and it is this one. This is the mechanism here. The carbon sulfur bond is established in this way. Any doubt here? This is addition of sodium bisulfide. Let me tell you one more thing in this, a very important point here, that these addition products, sodium bisulfide addition product, when treated with dilute acid or dilute alkali, regenerate the original carbonyl compound. Regenerate the original carbonyl compound. Let me show that. Regenerate the original carbonyl compound when treated with dilute acid or dilute alkali. So, regenerate, for example, I am starting with acetaldehyde. I have started with acetaldehyde. So, I will get acetaldehyde here plus Na2SO3 and water. Same thing here, acetaldehyde, NaCl, SO2 and water. So, see acetaldehyde, once again acetaldehyde here. So, this sodium bisulfide addition product when treated with that dilute HCl or dilute acid or dilute alkali regenerate the original carbonyl compound. So, this reaction can be used for purification and separation of halides and ketones. It can be used for purification and separation of halides and ketones. Okay. So, this is addition of sodium bisulfite where carbon sulfur bond is established. I think you have some idea right now about the nucleophilic addition reactions. So, till now we have discussed two nucleophilic addition reaction of halides and ketones, that is the addition of HCN and addition of sodium bisulfite. Remember, here only methyl ketones. Okay. Thank you very much. See you next class.